Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Hopefully the fan is not too loud. If it's annoying as heck, I'm sorry. I'm still working on figuring out what to do with my new setup. As you can see, I've installed panels in the back. I've got 3 over here that are still being built. You'll notice that there's now a light in the back, and I'm just doing some stuff to try to help alleviate the problems that I have in the room. I will say that after installing these panels, which are homemade rock wool with moving blankets, I guess it's still apparent over here, but right here in the middle of the room is dead, which is awesome. Hopefully my voice sounds way better too. So that means if I want to record and get my singing in and all that stuff, then we could, you know, do the thing. Welcome everybody. I took a week off because I was doing the Adrenaline event last week, and if you don't know what Adrenaline is, it is a martial arts tricking event slash competition where the world's best trickers, or at least some of them, not everybody came, but some of the world's best trickers get together. They do a competition, there's a gathering, and I had the pleasure of being DJ. So it was quite an event. Actually, it was pretty freaking insane. And what I did was I launched clips. I was DJ in the background in between events, and then I also triggered stuff to where like when the people came out, you know, like, oh yeah, in the white shorts there's this person. I played Cage's music, which before I go any further in this, shout out to Cage, DMCR, Flesh Interface, and Zane Wolf. I got clearance from all of them to use their music, and we also, everybody except for Zane, I had a collaboration with, which was absolutely endearing. It was so cool to be able to play stuff that all of us put hands on, which is really cool. Flesh Interface is working on releasing that tune, so I can't play it, but Cage just did a little cool beat for me, which was super sick. DMCR and I have a collab that's out on, I don't remember what the record label is, but that's actually the only label release that I have. Yay, I'm on a label as of sometime last year. But yeah, thank you guys. I can't say thank you enough, and it's going to be televised sometime in August. I'm going to be helping them with the post, but you're going to see all of our credits on CBS Sports, which is going to be advertised to like 50 million people. So does that make me important? Absolutely not, because I'm right here with you all. I'm still just a person. That's not a huge thing. I didn't get paid loads and loads of money, but it is a cool opportunity that I'm very grateful for. My buddy Ali, he's an amazing tricker. He actually runs the Skillas group, which are these guys. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, here we go. So they're all on TikTok, but Skillas is a group of 3 people, and they pretty much do contact in the air and pretty much do videos like this, which is super cool. I'm not sure which one of these guys Ollie is, but you should definitely check them out because they just do really cool music, or not music, but really cool videos and stuff. Oh, there's Ollie. That's him. So I gotta turn the music off, but yeah, so this guy, we've been training together for the past 2 years actually, and he just went back home to, well, he's from Ukraine, but he went back home to Turkey. Oh, there he is. That's Alex D. So yeah, he was like, yo, what's it called? Ian, Alckemy is should go DJ any tricks, so he understands music. And let me tell you guys, like, halftime and like the beats that we make on this channel are like the perfect tricking music. And so when this video comes out, especially if you're into these kinds of beats and stuff that I make, that my friends make and all that, I don't care about getting famous. I really want the people that I had the pleasure to collaborate with to get some recognition, because they are criminally underrated. If you all get the chance, there's a couple of things right now that like you all need to go listen to. DMCR sent me this tune, which is called Peer Pressure. Go listen to that right now. This tune is a fucking banger. Flesh Interface, Step Forward, fucking banger. Cage, Hate Me, fucking banger. Stages of Depression, that was like one of the last things that I did with Zane Wolf, and man, it was such a hype battle. Oh my gosh, especially to that music. Oh, it was so good, you guys. It was so good. And super fulfilling. I've got a fucked up knee now, unfortunately, so I am not going to be training for the next 10 days. I got to do rehab, which my rehab involves walking backwards on a treadmill. But that was the update. That's pretty much what I did. I love when I find producers who are part of the movement community. I've been tricking and freerunning for the last 13 years, halftime and flips. Who are you? Do I know you? Well, let's go. Cheers, brother. You've been tricking for 13 years? I probably know who you are. Were you part of trickstutorials.com? Yeah, man, I'm an OG, so OG tricker now these days, being in my 30s and stuff. So anyways, I want to talk about how I made this whole thing work real quick, and then I want to get into some beats later and kind of just catch up and hang out with you all today, because I haven't seen you all in like a week. I've been on Discord and, you know, been replying to people, but yeah, the event was pretty much all week long, and I've had to do quite a few things. So I'm not going to be playing like copyrighted tunes or anything, but I will kind of show you how I use the embod me array to kind of switch between stuff that ended up being really good. Let me see where this is. Where's the adrenaline set? Oh, I also made custom music, which was super cool. Hopefully this is going to be finished soon, if you all know who that is. Set 2. Hold on, let me go to my recents. File, cancel. And while I'm doing this, how are you guys? How is everything? I'm going to go back to here and go to adrenaline set. There we go. That way it's just easier to find. How is everybody? What are you guys up to? How's life? Install packages. Okay, so what I did was, let me plug this in real quick so that way you all can see what I did as far as the controller sense. But I guess I could have done this technically without, but there was 3 parts of this project that I had to, 4 parts actually, that I had to do. So this little setup right here, I'm going to show you guys on the actual array thing, because that's the best way to do this. But if I go here to pull, and I pull this project, 15, pull, okay, here we go. So this project that I have with the array is pretty much what the controller shows. You can't really see it all that well right here, but what I have over on this is 3 faders. We haven't met, to my knowledge. I'm mostly free running around, but I'm good buddies with the Oh, you know the Colorado guys. So you know Nick Vale, Ethan Turner was there at the Adrenaline event. I'm really good friends with Ashley Cash Money. Well, I mean, I've known her since she was, you know, she's still a baby to me, but she's like the little sister of the group. Aiden Kennedy. Who else do I know over there? Oh my gosh, Abel Martin. Yeah, I know all those guys. So give them a hug for me if you see them. In fact, I've got pictures with them from like a decade ago. But that's awesome that you knew that. How did you find me? Did you find me through Adrenaline or? Yeah, let's go. Awesome. Yeah, give them all a hug and tell them Ian. They'll know who I'm talking. They'll know who you're talking about. Give them a hug and say Ian gives them my regards. And I miss Nick. I miss Nick so much. Nick Vale and Rudy Meadows. So Rudy Meadows taught me he got me to like teaching me how to do swings, how to do double cork. He did a lot of coaching for me when I was working on cork snapus, which I haven't done in years, but hopefully one day I'll come back to it. Okay, so with this, these are 3 faders that are crossfade. So instead of them just being like this goes up and this goes down through production tours, literally just found out that I'm a tricker. That's what's up, man. It's a small world. Let's go. I plan on coming to Colorado probably in September or so. Well, I guess maybe when the next gathering is, which usually I think the Colorado gatherings are in September. So yeah. There's this crossfade in between all of these that if I wanted to do like traditional mixing to where this is the master crossfader between deck A and deck B, If you look over here, we've got deck A and deck B. And what I did was at first I had everything to be like, you know, hard hitting tunes and then soft hitting tunes or whatever. But what I did was I started just grouping everything to where I could just crossfade in between one of these. So if I were to play, let me find one that's got like both of my stuff on it. Okay, like this one would be a good thing. So what I would do is I would set this to deck A, which is color coded in red over here, and pretty much if I wanted to launch this, then I can kind of just like keep this on repeat. And then I could just crossfade into that, just like that. So as far as the DJing sense, what most of these are just BPM, similar BPMs. So I was able to kind of use that as a crossfade. Down here, I've got a bunch of effects. So if I wanted to do like a tape stop, a couple of times I actually had to use this because there were some words that, or there were some songs that have bad words. So I would be like, you know, bring that wait, hold on. I'd be like, wait, what's going on here? It'd be like, bring that shit beer, and I'd have to, you know, like launch that O. So these other ones have like reverb, DJ stuff like scratching. What else do I have on this? I don't remember. So Dash Glitch actually helped me put some of this together, although I didn't end up using a lot of it. And some of it was my idea, some of it was his. But what we did with these crossfades here, reverb, scratch delay, phaser, reverser, tape stop, table scratching. So that's what I did on the master effects. But on deck A and B, because Bitwig 5 has these global projects now, that's what made this possible. So I wouldn't have been able to do this. I guess I could have, but it made it a lot easier. So on deck A, you'll see that I've got these low, mids, and highs on here. So if I were to dish this, you can see once it hits that midpoint, it stops going. And the way that we made this work was through using remaps on Snap Heap. And that was his idea, because what I did was like, he just had like a master crossfader that was like low, mids, and highs. And then what I wanted to do was have one between each DJ set. But the problem is that if you turn these off, the linear things, then the overall volume will actually get more quiet before it goes to the master. So with this linear curve, once you're mixing and it reaches that midpoint here, it's never going to go past it. And once it's coming down, it has to get to the midpoint in order for it to start turning down. So that's how we were able to basically make that mix happen. And from that, it was a lot more useful to be able to be like, oh, and I didn't mix more than 2 tracks, or actually I didn't really do any like quote unquote mixing or like mashups or whatever, but it ended up serving its purpose pretty well. So the other thing, I didn't really even use this that much, but it was cool, is I've set some of these buttons here to be able to navigate where this is, because I'm not sure where the button is right now. It's not even showing up, but this is a navigator here. And what I can do between this is, as you see, I can go and launch clips just like this in between. And if I hit fire or if I hit move, it'll play the next one, right? Also, if I hit this one, it'll play the previous one, which is kind of cool. Adrenaline. And then that was just a jingle that I made for the winners or whatever. So also, if I wanted to launch individual clips, you can see that this is red and blue. So the red one will launch the red clips, the blue one will launch the blue clips, or deck A and B, and then these will stop them. And then they're color coded a little bit different, although they're the same color but a different shade. So that way I know which one is which. Now initially, this didn't work out the way that I had wanted to, but I ended up, like all of these that you see over to the right ended up over here on the left. I just ended up like moving them back after I played them, so that way I didn't play the same song. But what I initially planned was I had this green side over here to be able to do the same thing, but only with what was on the right, with the battle music, and that was for the televised tunes. And as you can see, these are all just what's it called, like our tunes. So this one was for some demo or whatever that they gave us, but Flesh Interface, Doppelgangster, Effigy, this is Cage and I, Cage, Zane Wolf, Flesh, me, my stuff, DMTR, MBT8. And so what I would do is really just like say, all right, well, there would be like, battles, are you ready? Battles, are you ready? And then I would launch the clip and try to kind of sync it up to when they would start going. But what I didn't prepare for was that they actually had 3 rounds. So at first I was trying to go through and like just play like extra stuff over here. So like Seance, MBT3, Post Resurrection, Paradox. These are just like some older tunes that I don't really think are all that great, but still like usable. But what I ended up doing was I just ended up playing the same song, just a different part of it whenever there was round 2 or round 3. So it was like a really cool learning experience because I was having to, it was different than a crowd. I wasn't playing to a crowd, I was playing to the show. And I think that was one of the coolest things about that learning experience was I was trying to match up what was happening with the action that was going on stage versus how I felt the crowd felt about that. So there was a couple of other things that I made for this. So I've already played the winner thing, and then there was a few other kind of like side tunes that I needed to play, which was Rim Long. Whenever the judges were judging, I played the Scrutiny tune that I made a couple weeks ago. I'll just kind of skim through it. Which that was pretty cool, and that was on every single one. And then during the intermission I played this tune, which was just like kind of like a ambient techno tune. Which I'll probably just use for my intros now because, or my breaks, because it's a nice tune. So yeah, it was weird, man. I pretty much like produced the music of the show, and luckily everybody that, because I ended up playing hours and hours of music. Like I played all of this stuff, which is not all mine, and this stuff was not televised or whatever, but I came up just with this like super set that I played over the course of 3 days. And sometimes I would actually do the mixing or transitions from one song to another. Sometimes I would just put on a playlist. So there were times that I was training, so I just went on iTunes and then put on something in the background. But what an experience, and what a learning experience as well, of being like, man, what the heck. There's so much that I had to learn on the fly that really kind of came out. And I made a lot of mistakes, but everybody made mistakes because it was all happening live with like one rehearsal. So you know, but even still, I had a lot of fun doing this, and I kind of just wanted to give an illusion to like how you can DJ in Bitwig, or how you can put on some kind of performance if you have your clips set up. Because initially what I wanted to do, in a perfect world, I wanted to be able to set all of these with this layout to their original BPM and timeline, and then every 4 bars or every 8 bars or something, I could just trigger a unique clip. But the problem with that is that there's no way to choke clips. And what that means is that if something is on the same timeline, if you hit this, then they're all going to play together. So it defeats the purpose of being able to kind of like transition from one to another. You could just use one deck and then just hit this one and then like try to time it up or whatever, like when you hit play, but I didn't really want to do that. And that's why if you could view this timeline of these clips in the original host BPM, then what you can do is set these launch quantizations up to be like, all right, after 8 bars of this playing, now it's going to launch the next clip. So I never thought that that would be like a useful thing or whatever, but I really feel like that would be super helpful in the performance world for clip launching within Bitwig as a whole. I also was tripping out because Ableton, or sorry, the Embodme array has a clip launcher that's built in for Ableton. You can barely see it over here, but it looks kind of like this. And I was really disappointed because I couldn't use, hold on one second, which looks like this. I was really disappointed because I couldn't figure out how to use this. But even still, I found a happy middle ground in between of the Embodme array and being able to launch clips versus versus what my expectations were, if that makes sense. So yeah, what a great experience, and that was pretty much how things went. I didn't do any new tricks, I didn't land anything new. In fact, I broke my toe, and then somehow, I guess it was from the move, because I'm in a new spot, so during the same week of the gig I moved to a new place. I think just from moving heavy stuff, I got tendonitis in my knee again, which was the original injury I had from Cirque du Soleil. The difference though is that I'm much more educated and I know how to fix it. It's already starting to get better. So basically the secret to bulletproof knees is to walk backwards on a treadmill. Cheers. Ben, Ben Patrick, dude, just that guy is the physical therapy Jesus. So yeah, with that, I've been playing a lot with the iPad. This is an investment that I've been paying off over time. There's been some really cool stuff that I've been doing with this that, man, I've got so much like stuff that's happened in the past few weeks, so I apologize if my thoughts are super sporadic, but I've got so much shit to talk about. So let me unplug this for a bit, and I'm going to plug in the iPad and talk about a few things with you all, because I think that you'll find some of these things super interesting. So Sugar Bites sent me a couple of stuff. They sent me Egoist, and I've been messing around with that. And part of the reason why I've been messing around with things like Drum Computer and Egoist and all those other things is because I have been in this habit of making loops. And I haven't been making loops for the sake of just putting the loop into a brand new track, but really for the sense of like breaking even further. But that all stems from, full circle here, I've been doing lessons with Cage as of recent, and we have had an amazing couple of conversations that we're going to upload to his channel in the next couple days. I need to do just a light bit of editing and do a couple of cuts, but we had such, man, especially yesterday, or actually the last two lessons that I've done with him have just been extremely eye-opening, and so I'm going to give you guys kind of a glimpse of that. And we'll talk about some of the things that I've learned, but even more so, it's just really interesting of like his approach and what I've learned from him, which is not like, oh, this is how you make a cool snare, this is how you tweak a snare. It's actually how to bring back, like, it's almost like how to defeat splice, if you will, which is really crazy to think about. Let's talk about Egoist for a second, and then I'll come back to that idea, which we'll get back to in a second. But yeah, so I've been playing around with Egoist. I will have a review of this at some point, but if I were to maybe open up an initial one, maybe if I can do that, I'm not sure if I can or not. Playground, Nadine, Sugar Bites, A. Let me see if they empty. All right, there we go. So the reason why this thing is really cool is because it's pretty much like a loop slicer, beat slicer with a bunch of built-in effects that have modulation over time. It also has a drum machine built into it, although it's not very robust, and also a bass built into it, which is either a sawtooth or a square wave. And that's all fine and dandy. Sometimes it actually appears, it will appear to be more useful than you think, but not in the sense of you're going to make a bass line with this. What it's going to do is it's going to add sonic character to what we're going to be doing here in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the slicer here, and I'm going to go to empty, and I'm going to pull some of these up from my user. Some of these I've already made, so we'll just pull up arbitrary chaos, and you can see that this will automatically find slices for you, which is really nice. If I hit random, it'll find new slices. You can change the sensitivity, which is really cool, and it'll make up to 16 slices. You can change the pitch, you can change the length, you can change the envelope, and then you can change the percentage of how loud this is. What this is on the bottom with these guys are two things. One is how many repeats happen, or rather it picks a slice, I think. And what you can do is either set forward or backwards with reversing. I don't care about any of this. I just do that. The other thing that I do with this is you can see that this says T1, T2, T3, T4. I just set this to like T1 or T2 and hit random. And then on the pitch, you can just hit random as well. On the bottom, you can go octave up or octave down. So either 12 up or 12 down. And again, you can kind of just randomize that to do whatever it is that you want. You can move them over if you want, which is really cool. And then on this, which is, I believe, like attack, you can kind of just set different times for these. So you can set, if you move this up or down, you can say, all right, I want this much attack, and then this will be the decay. I don't really mess with this a whole lot because I don't find that to be useful when I'm making drum loops, but that's pretty much how this works in a nutshell. You've got some sliders over here that's pretty much crossfading in between. You can turn the effects on between the bass, the beat, and the effects as a whole. Over here you've got a envelope followed filter. I wish that there was a notch. That would be cool, but we can just set this to, I don't want to do bandpass, we'll do high pass and set this to low. So if you've seen me do my snare trick, that's really cool. Then we've got some feedback, we've got reverb, bit crusher, sample rate, bit depth, chorus, tape stop, which is really cool, and then a looper. So none of this sounds like it's like that interesting until you actually start to play with this and you get into the habit of resampling. Especially if you put something in like drum computer. Hey, what's up, baby? If you put something in like drum computer and you put that kind of loop in here and then you export it and put it back in and export it and put it back in, you're usually left with some stuff that ends up sounding really cool. And because there's so many random things that we can apply to this, it ends up sounding pretty neat. So I'm going to open up the Egoist tab and make sure that we're at the right BPM. So I'm just going to set this to 85-ish. That's just, it doesn't really matter, but just as a means of doing the whole thing. So now once we hit play, we can get some sounds out of this, hopefully. Now what's also really cool about this is there's different parts down here at the bottom. So if I set this to part 2, then you can essentially pull up a whole nother patch and pull up something completely different. So if I set this to program 2 now, whenever I hit play, there we go, you can see that this is empty. So now we can pretty much do the exact same thing and be like, all right, let's do bokeh, and let's hit boom, boom, super fast, very easy to kind of just get things up and going. And now with this we can apply a bass, we can apply some kind of beat. There's up to 32 kits, I think. Yeah, there's 32 kits, and you can mix and match. So you can be like, all right, I want this snare, this hat, and move the attack all the way up. And you can also change between a closed hat, open hat, and a small hat, I guess, which is kind of nice. And then you can kind of adjust these as a whole, but that's not really all that important. We can set the scale here to D sharp and then just set it to minor. So again, it's very basic, but like I'm not really worried about it because I'm not trying to create something that I'm going to be using like verbatim or just vanilla whenever I put this back into Bitwig. So now that we have this, we've got 2 parts. So we can just set this to part 1 and part 2. And then I will hit play. Turn the effects on all of these. And we can hit random a couple of times. Let's go back into the beat on this one. This is a great way to create like glitches and stuff. Cool, that's all we need. So now that we have this, we can go to bounce audio, and you can see that I've made a few already. So we'll just go to, no, we'll just go example, chicken scratch. Now from example, we will save this to our files. Save this in Ego, and then that's it. So we could also save this as, I guess it's just easier to type out, but we can save this as example again. And now that we have this, we can pull this back up if we wanted to do more processing to it in a third-party app or something. So if I wanted to pull up Drambo or something, and Egoist is already up, so I can just go here and find my user. We can go example. Then what I can do is I can start to play with different sources of modulation with this. So you can see on this that I've got the knock plugin already there. So if I were to play this, it's going to be much louder, by the way. I gotta hit play. But we could also do something like Saturn. Where's the mix? So we can turn the mix down. We can move this over here. We can also start to break this. So like if we use something like tap, we could also grab some LFOs on here. So we can change this to sample and hold. And now that we have this, we can open this up and start mapping things. So we can map that, we can map the time, we can change this to milliseconds, and then, hold on one second, go to milliseconds, and then map these. We can map that. So now that we have this, we can create a couple of other LFOs. And I just love this because of how fast this works. So now what we do is we go to mix, turn that up, go to gap, turn it down, time, section, spread, cool. We can grab push, which is a limiter. Then we can hit clip, turn the makeup gain up. And now what we can do with all of this is we can just tap this and hit record. Tap that. Tap stop. Recording saved to folder in your library. So now we can go to this guy and go into our files. (629.23), 712. We go share. Go airdrop. Alucard's MacBook Pro. And there you go. We've made a cool little thing that we can chop and send into our thing super fast now. Like, you see how fast that was and how easy that was to kind of get stuff going. So now what we can also do is take some of these that I've kind of pushed. Let me find out where this is. It's not Egoist, but I'll go to my sample folder, go to Ego, and I can select all of these now. I'm really slow at selecting things. And go to share and go to airdrop, and boom. Now I've got a bunch of loops that I've made that kind of spawn into just creating random stuff, and that's what's really fun about this. Now the other thing that's really cool is if we do this from a different standpoint, perhaps something like drum computer. I don't know if this has what I pulled up as a... Yeah, so we can go into drum computer and make a sequence. Change the kit. That's really cool. Now we can just go export 2 bars, go save to files, Boca Beat 4, I think, return, save, and then we can toss this into Egoist, and then we can toss this into the computer. Like, do you see how crazy this is? So from all that, I'm just gonna grab that from the files because I actually really like that. So we'll go into drum 1. Let's find Boca Beat 4, share, airdrop, boom, and that's that. So now if we go back to the scene, I can close this out or just put it away for a bit. And what I really liked about this was a lot of those beats that I made on Egoist, I made yesterday while I was at the pool. So Corey was chilling in the hot tub, and I was just at the pool, like at the table or whatever, just making loops and stuff, later to be used for stuff like today. I don't think that those sounds were anything interesting in particular, but now that we have some material to work with, this goes into the philosophy and stuff that Cage and I were talking about a couple of days ago, which is actually the significant part. So the whole mindset of this workflow that we've been doing has been this aspect of taking anything and making a loop out of it, or making a beat out of it, and how to process it to start to find hooks and to use just anything that's in these to make a shitty kick and snare or a shitty pattern, but getting to this constant process of resampling so that way it's unique every time. So this is a highly advanced technique, and the reason why is because there's so much like pre-knowledge that you have to have in order for this stuff to work out in the way that it's intended. But you know, if you take a listen to something very simple kind of like this, just got myself Duck from Devious, pretty fun, VST. Isn't Duck just like a volume shaper, I think? So now that we have something like this though, if you listen to it, okay, I gotta turn this up. Yeah, right, got it. So we could take something like this as well. So and we could just join these up, and now what we can do is we can set this to raw. Sorry, now what we'll do is we'll set this to, I'm gonna bounce this and set this to repitch now. So whenever I start pulling this out, I can start finding different timbres and different stuff with this that will start giving me cool and different results that could be interesting. So like that phrase already seems really cool. So I'm gonna pull that out and pull this over here. I just did a basic stretch, right? So what this really comes down to now is using your tools and your effects to start to change this in a means that is going to transform the sound into different stuff. So we can start with a delay or something, and if you've seen my Turnham series, then you would pretty much be pretty familiar with what I'll be doing here. But we really want to try to go for short things, short sounds for the most part, mainly because we don't want to create like tones and resonances yet while we're fishing for something that's going to be percussive. So from this we can kind of do a little bit of adjusting here. What other stuff do I like to do? We can use a frequency shifter, I suppose, and set this to the highest amount that we want this to go to, and then pull it down. We can use a dual delay, perhaps, and kind of just modulate this, modulate the spread. Pull the feedback down, use something like a comb filter if we wanted to. Kind of let that go crazy. Then we want to compress everything really hard. Pull this up. And there's no right or wrong with this. This is just like what I typically do. Just make sure that there's a limiter over here on the other side. And that's the reason why I do this, is so that way this limiter, everything goes into this limiter, so that way if I'm scrolling down, I don't have to scroll back up and then scroll back down. I can kind of just keep working with this long chain of effects or whatever. Maybe something else we can do is add some convolution reverb. So we'll do that before the frequency shifter, and I don't know, we can pretty much use anything, but let's use theater stage, fade out, stretch it really high, kind of just do a little bit of that. And now when we hit play, we're gonna get some whole other stuff that is supposed to be unexpected and kind of just wild. And while this is going, I can start to stretch this out too. So So now that I have that, I've got this rolling sampler that I can pull out, and thank God for the rolling sampler, because now all that stuff that I just did, I recorded. So hopefully between something like this, I can find something that is going to be useful. And then, and this is just where I'm at with practice. And if you want to learn more about this, please hit up Cage for lessons, because what I'm showing you is all just a concept, and he's much more eloquent with the way that he's teaching this. And for me, this is just where I'm at with trying to make beats at this moment in time, just because I'm tired of, like, I'm kind of tired of trying to make a really fat kick and snare and then trying to like guess the context that it's supposed to fit in. But if I can find something in this in itself, then I might have a higher chance of finding a hook or something that leads me to more interesting results. So okay, so here we go. All right, we found a hook. So with this, now this is something that can repeat every bar or every 2 bars, and we can pitch this up or pitch it down. Hey, Avin, what's up, brother? But and then what we might want to do is like take out some of the stuff in here. So like we don't need that. So now we can kind of just duplicate this, and we've found ourselves a hook. That boom, dum, dum, dum. Cool. Now what we can do is start to layer this. So that's pretty magical, right? So now that we have something like that, you are going to have a sense of taste or whatever to do this, but I'm going to try to find something that's kind of reminiscent of a snare. So this will work. And now through this, I'll try to make this somewhat into like a snare through processing this. Cage exists only in Legends Me. Everyone talks about him, but whenever I do web search, it comes up empty. He's like cryptid. Look up SoundCloud/Cage IDK. Or just check the description, because I have a link to his channel. Also, I have an interview with him on my channel. What's up with the mic? Is something wrong with my voice? It's distorting? Is it just background noise, or do I actually sound all fucked up? I'm clipping? Really? How's this? Testing, testing, testing. It might have been because I moved my volt. Sound like a kilohertz distortion on it. Hi Johnny, by the way. Why didn't anybody say anything? Is this better? Or am I still clipping? Okay, thanks. Yeah, you guys gotta tell me these things. So, thanks for telling me eventually. Now that we have this, we can start shaping this into an actual snare. So, I don't know. We don't need to go crazy with this, but... That's why you're lurking. You're watching out for me. We can do a little bit of transient control on this. And what I might actually want to do is just use an audio follower or something. We'll cut that. Where is this at? 261. So what I could do is build a snap heap rack, I guess. And just use an audio follower on a filter. Actually, I'll use a slice EQ. Well, that's weird. It's not behaving in the way it's supposed to, but okay. Let's try it with this instead. There we go. Might also help if I do it the right way. So now we can move this over this way. Do do some mid-side split. But now you see, like, I'm trying to make this work in context. So I can do like some convolution or something. So now what we can do is we can create some spaces with this. So we can also take this and move it to a new channel. Do something a little different with this. Now what we got to do is find something that could be reminiscent of a kick. That'll probably work. So we can kind of grab something like this. Probably do like one of these guys. Sounds good. What we can also do is we're going to clip this. And then we can add just a touch of OTT to this. Now, something that I was wanting to talk to Cage and Zane about. Zane Wolf, powers that be, if you are here, say hello. For some reason, every time I do that, he shows up. So... but one of these big issues that I've been having, yo, Balin, thank you so much for subbing, is that OTT does not work the same in any other thing except for OTT, which is what I've come to realize. I was going to make a video about it, which is why I'm so frustrated with it. But yeah, truth be told, there's nothing that replaces OTT. It does not sound the same. Now, that's not to say that you can't find something that doesn't sound good, but if you want like the snare to really pop, like, and if I were to put an OTT on it, this is kind of like the magic right here as like 40%, turn the time up, turn this down. I do have cram it, but I don't think that it sounds like OTT. So we can also do another kick right here. So now that we have something like that, we can start to kind of shape some of this stuff as well with track delay. We can also move this early if we wanted to. And then we can move this one late. Yeah, so with that, we can maybe turn the snare down just a little bit. Now what we can do with these is we want to move these into our sidechain. So we're going to open this up into fundamentals, toss that in there, and now with this stuff, we can toss it into the percussion, and now the sidechain is going to help dictate a lot of this stuff. So yeah. So from this, now that we have this loop, we can pretty much do the exact same thing as we did from before. So now, where is this? We can grab this guy and pretty much do the exact same thing. So we put this on the master here. Actually, let's put it here. And we turn this back on, and now we can run this through a similar set of effects and find more stuff. We can also keep like trying to find stuff out of this. Perhaps it would be useful to duplicate this like 4 times and just make something out of it, but cool. So now we can take that and pull this out here and keep messing with this in a different way. So I can set this to repitch, and we can find a new loop from this. So I hear this little thing right here that could be cool. I'm going to move all this stuff over. We can just make something new here. And then maybe do something different here. So could do something kind of like this. Sorry, I'm trying to make it go do 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 do. Ball. So now we've got a whole nother thing that we can make and pretty much do the exact same process over again. And the point of this isn't really to like try to make the most compelling thing that you've ever written. It's really just a way to practice making beats out of nothing. So we can also bounce this and then start to change it as well. Like we don't have to leave it as what it is. We can also try a frequency shifter or something in case if we don't like whatever tone that is. Hey Alckemy. Alckemy, did I see the Chord Gadget 2 is on sale for iPad? And I like iPad music stuff too. No, I haven't. I was actually thinking about picking up for Nintendo Switch and making a beat with it, just as far as what the Discord chat was talking about. But no, I might reach out to Korg and see if they'd be willing to do a collaboration trade or something. That could be fun. Maybe this one can be... Oops. This one can just be like a pitch up, so... Maybe not. Switch has multiplayer, it's really fun. Oh, really? That sounds dope. There we go. Like, I never would have written this stuff myself. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I did write it myself, but I never would have come up with this with intent. And that's kind of why I really like starting out making stuff like this in this way. Partly also because like it's very liberating of like, oh, let's just keep exploring until we find something, but it's like a very fun way to, how do you say, it's a very fun way to do this without having to like worry about like, oh, I need to design something very specific, and then try to make that specific thing fit within the context of whatever it is that I'm making. And because we're doing this from resampling, like there's a much higher chance of everything working. So So something that I might want to do with this though is with this I might want to do this to where this is hitting on beat and then we just cut this one. So yeah, so now we just pretty much can do the same thing to where we go through some of these cuts we've made and try to find something that's reminiscent to a kick and a snare. So we can kind of backtrack a bit. This is really cool. I really like that a lot of this stuff sounds like stick hits. So we can place that there for now. Let's go ahead and fish for a kick. That's kind of cool. I don't think that would be good for I don't think that would be good for a kick, but that sounds like it could be cool for percussion. So there's this little guy right here. This is probably what we're going to have to work with, which is okay, because I'm going to work on the kick first. But what's really cool about Bitwig's latest update, which I think it was a feature that was like omitted or something that they talked about, but this goes all the way up to 96 now. So if we have something like this, let's just say that we want maybe, yeah, that's a little bit more of a transient, but let's say we bounce this, we can actually create a really nice pitch bend from this. So if we were to lower this by like 12, you see how much more of a difference this makes? Cool. So now we can pretty much do the same thing that we did from before, to where we try to find a fundamental and boost it. So I'm going to grab a shelf here. And what I'm going to do to get rid of that, the rest of that sound, is just pitch the rest of it down. There we go. Let's grab a multi-pass here. And something that we could also do, which I didn't really talk about, is we can actually add a disperser to this if we wanted to create a sub. There's a few options that you can do. So if I wanted to create more of a kick, you can see that this is kind of helping out quite a bit. We could also do some clipping to it. This kick isn't really meant to be like a super kick, and that's one thing that I've come to realize with this. At some point, you're going to want to go back and, you know, actually put in, you know, something decent sounding with this. But as a layer, or as something that has some kind of cool sonic quality to it, that was the big thing that I didn't really pick up on from before. But it works. And just as a matter of serving as a kick, right? Just a means of, okay, this could work, or something that does sound somewhat like a thump. That's definitely plausible. So same thing with the snare now. Cool. Let's grab a snap heap and let's turn this into a snare. I need a filter. Hey Tavin, what's up? New studio's looking fresh. Thanks, dude. Yeah, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream. It was cool and it was a big learning experience more than anything. Okay, now that's a little bit more punchy, so we can compress it again. But it was cool, man. I had a great time, and I got to see a lot of my friends that I hadn't seen in years. I met some people that I've been wanting to meet that I've never met. Curse you, OTT. I hate that you sound so good on snares. So now we can start kind of constructing our beat. So let's grab these and toss these into the fundamentals, and then we'll toss this into the percussion. Want to do boom 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 ka boom ka. Cool. So yeah, and we can always change this too if it's not really all that interesting, or we can continue to break this up. So we don't really need all that. So Same thing with this is that we can put on a time shift. And yeah, now we're kind of off to the races and just making like weird ass wonky beats. So we can also grab all of these. And kind of now what we can do is I can just take this one, just move that here and grab all of these and add a fade to them, and we can pull this up. There we go. So now that we have something like that, we've pretty much created two separate beats. We can use that as our intro, or we can, you know, use this as whatever, but we can figure out what key this is in by throwing a EQ on this. And soloing this. Okay, shit, it's in D sharp 4, so now we can, you know, continue to process this and build sonic qualities to it that might make it sound a little bit more interesting as well. So maybe a pitch shifter or something. Okay, so this should go... Oh no, I had it right. So this should be like here. And yeah, so now what we can do is we can try to find something in here perhaps that is somewhat reminiscent of a bass. Whoa. It's how you create demons. And sometimes there's not really much you can do to what's this? Like sometimes there's not really a whole lot of information in here that you can use to create a strong sub. Like what does this sound like if it's... We can try. Still sounds like it's the same pitch though, unfortunately. Hey Wiggles, what's up, bro? Yeah, it doesn't have a detectable pitch, so that's okay. Sometimes that doesn't work out. That's where we can go into something that might be a little bit easier to work with. what we could even do is maybe throw in that sampler or throw in that piece here just for texture. So we can maybe toss this in and set this to loop. And then we can add a harmonic here. Okay, so we just need to make this a little bit more beefy on the top end, and then we can... Sorry I'm not talking much. I don't have a whole lot to say, but if anybody has any questions, then... Cool. So, I mean, that works. It's very simple, but... Dope. What could be cool with this? So yeah, now that we have that, we can resample the whole thing again and turn this into a different kind of beat or whatever. But we can also kind of skim through some of this stuff and see if there's anything else that we can find, or we can really try to we don't really need all that, but what we can do is clear this out of the way. Some kind of fill right there would be super sick. So another fill right there. So So I'm kind of thinking that maybe we don't need that first part on this one, at least not on all of them. So we can kind of take those out and leave some space and maybe fill it up with something different. But But you see what I'm saying? I didn't make a kick or a snare out of this, and this sounds great. At least to me, it does. The kick's hitting, there's the snare, there's all that, and just from this cool little beat that we created, now we're kind of getting into that realm of like, okay, we could turn this into just a cool little jam, because all I got to do now is duplicate it, and then if I want to get more material out of it or find a different section or whatever, then I can kind of do something else like that, right? I could even turn the drums off, turn the fundamentals off, if anything, and just solo this in the bass. And now what I could do is just go onto the master channel here and start to try to create like different kinds of like pads and stuff out of this. So I could go snap heap, and I'm trying to think about it like a slicer or something that I would want to use for this, but or like a beat repeat or something of the sense. But we can start to play with different reverbs on this or something. Wow. So we've got a bunch of stuff on this that we can try to just use as different background elements or different, you know, just different timbres and stuff. I mean, this sounds super cool. So if I were to just use this, you know, like we can even just use that for different, like building a theme out of this or something. So like right there. So I think it's right here. So now what I could also do is probably just take the same processing on this. Actually, what I'd rather do is maybe see if I can find some other stuff in here that's reminiscent of either a clap or just like a different kind of snare. So like what would happen if I that's kind of cool. Okay, I like that. Now what happens if I pitch it down? Okay, so maybe I could use that as a layer here. What happens if I replace this with this instead? So sick. So now I can kind of just take this first section here, 2, 3, 4, deactivate these maybe. Kind of just play in this section, 2, 3, 4, and be like, all right, now I'm going to want to switch this to something different. So we can replace these. Which sounds good to me. Although I want these to be just a little bit darker, so what happens if we So that's one layer. Now we can find something else to kind of pull into that as well, because I think that I want that to be kind of layered. So what happens if I were to stretch this out? Crazy. Another idea that could be cool right there is if we were to so sick. So right here, kind of again creating that kind of contrast, I think would be super fucking cool. So what I could do with this is set this to a macro here, and once we get into this part, where is that? So from here to here. So dope. So now we can kind of mess with this just a bit, because I think that's really cool. Let's see what happens if we put just a touch of this on here. I just don't want that to be like too prominent. Yeah, so we can just take this and kind of dip that. And then maybe perhaps what we can do after that is add in some other kind of mid-side thing to just make it super fucking wide. Cool. Now what happens if I put this? Cool. So we'll need some kind of fill right here, so... I'm going to bounce all these and see what happens if I can pitch these up just a little bit to kind of switch the energy. Hold on one second. Uh-oh. No snare? What do you mean no snare? We made a snare. I thought we made a good one. This doesn't sound like a good snare. No? Not a good snare? We also made this one. No? Yo, what up, Optic? How are you, bro? Love me some beat stuff. So yeah, we can bring some of this over here now and add some flavor. I don't think there's anything on there, so oh, this is in the drums, that's why this needs to be here. There we go. So maybe we can do something like this. Was it here? Yeah, so put that there. Sick. Okay. Do I miss Max for Live? No, and that's just because I never got into Max for Live, to be honest. I'm really happy with the way that I'm doing things as of late. It's been a lot of fun. And welcome, GS. Okay, I need to plug this in. We'll do some stuff on this for a bit. Optic, how are you, bro? What's going on in your life? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time. GUIs for grid devices. Yeah, I can understand that. Maybe saws would be better. And then I want this particular sound that I'm not 100% sure how to get to, but I'll try to figure it out. I want it to be almost like an amp style. Oh, yeah, I can probably just distort the sine wave. Sorry. Also trying to figure out how I want to do this, so we're going to compress the shit out of it. Just so that way we can send that through like massive amounts of distortion. More distortion. Yo, what up, cheese? Sick. Okay. I'm going to use an audio follower on this to duck it. Cool. All right, so we need to a little bit earlier. Make a time shift. Just move it a little bit late. Sounds pretty sick. Sorry. Yes, probably not there. That'd probably be fine, but maybe we can leave it there. We need one of these guys. That's so cool. Alckemy.com, Eternum 6. That one is a newer one, but that is the Eternum 6 is the last of the series that I'm going to put out. I will still be doing neurobase and stuff, but I think that I'm going to do other projects instead, or focus on other types of sounds for a while. So. Man, there was some like flanging or something on here that I heard that was so cool. Although that's pretty cool too. So. Oops. That needs to be here. That's pretty cool too. So maybe I can kind of move this over to here. Move this one over. I think it would be cool to maybe even do a new snare right there. Just want to see how that's going to sound, but Yo, see ya, Davey. Thanks for coming in. Snare's nice. It's not bad. It's a little too much reverb though. Oh, you know what? That's why. Fuck you, OTT. Snares, man. Ugh. All right. There we go. We'll apply the same time shift to this. We'll grab all of these and do that. Now, hopefully that didn't take too long, but I feel like being lazy, so we'll just put these back on. Let's see what that sounds like. This snare is so fucking loud. Good lord. Sorry. Alright, so now we can get back to fucking around with this. Okay. It's a little funky, weird thing that I think would be kind of cool, and then just do something like some kind of call out switch up or something. think maybe doing an extra 4 bars of this would be good. It's just too fast of a switch up. So I can go like this and do that twice. And then we can just relay that sound. So yeah, just as far as a cool little beat or something, you know. Does anybody have any questions about anything? That's kind of cool. Wait. That didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to, but it sounded like, you know, a car scraping, like. So that's what I was hoping to get out of that. Oh well. I tried. Could have been funny, but it wasn't. That's fucking sick. think I'm going to try to place it there instead. And then maybe once every 2 bars. And I think that I want to add this here instead of this one, so well, maybe, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal though, but I can figure it out later. Yeah, does anybody have any questions about anything, or how are you all feeling about this process that I've just begun and just started? I think that it's a really freaking cool way to start working on tunes, and it's definitely refreshing because I don't have to pop up and open Phase Plant right off the bat. I can instead open up Snap Heap. No, but you know what I mean? I can make loops in other regions and stuff, kind of like the iPad or on my phone or whatever, and then just pop it in and start to be like, okay, well, I'm going to try to see how I can arrange this into specific things that have some kind of hook or some kind of, you know, I don't know, some kind of cool tonality or something. You know, like even what I'm thinking is probably right here for this next section, like this, then I'll probably switch that up. So that way we go A, B, C, A, or something like that. We could just use this as an intro or whatever, and have some kind of like crazy sample or whatever while this is building tension, and then it could be just a cool little tune. I don't think that I'm going to keep the bass line. It's very simple, but even without the bass line, if this would just be like a beat on its own, then I still think that You know what I mean? Um, yeah. Uh, so yeah. Does anybody have anything or any questions or anything else of the sort that you're wanting to know about? I think that I'm gonna switch this one up too. I don't really like that one, so. That's kind of cool, so. That's kind of cool. All right, so there's that. It doesn't have a lot of musical direction, but that's okay. I think that there's a lot of stuff that we could play with to develop some kind of musical idea or whatever. But even still, writing the beat was a lot of fun, and that's kind of what today's exercise was about. And this is something that I'm going to try to incorporate a lot more to just make better beats. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about anything? I feel like I've asked that several times, so I probably won't ask again. Excuse me. Well, if you all can, do me a favor. Check out alchemy.com. Check out the presets that I have for offer. Book a private lesson with me. Go subscribe to Cage's channel. The link is in the description. All of the methodology behind today was really from him. So, yeah. We're going to be posting an interview here in the next couple days with him and I. It was actually a lesson that I booked with him, and he kind of goes further in depth into what you see here as context. So that would be pretty cool if you're interested in kind of understanding the workflow that he's talking about. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else. I got some reviews on the way coming up. I'll probably have one up later today. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for everything. Much love to you all, and hit me up if you have any questions. I'll see you all later.